If Priyank Kharge is attacking the Karnataka Chief Minister, his father is busy defending the Congress MP Rahul Gandhi. Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge has backed Rahul Gandhi's remark about the Pegasus, about snooping. Mallikarjun Kharge says, and I quote, "Everyone knows telephone tapping is happening. I don't know whose phone is being tapped, but tapping is definitely happening." Let's listen into a soundbite and then I'll cross live to Pallavi Ghosh. Okay, I'm just still waiting for that soundbite to come in, but Pallavi Ghosh is here with me on the broadcast. So Pallavi, the reiteration of that point of snooping, but what BJP is turning around and asking is, if Rahul Gandhi, if Mr. Kharge, if the Congress party was so sure of Pegasus or other mechanisms of snooping, why did they not submit their phone for forensic analysis and prove this?
Well, the counter always from the Congress party, and this is not the first time the BJP has said it, the counter always coming in from the Congress party is that why should anyone of us will have to give over our phones for the records to be checked, to check the phone calls and to check our messages. Clearly, there's something which is not right. BJP thought, and one would have thought, that there would be a closure after a Supreme Court decision on the Pegasus issue. But I think the larger point which Rahul Gandhi is trying to make, and which Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and certainly the rest of the Congress party and of course the opposition is making, is that the opposition is never allowed to speak. Either their mics are switched off, cameras are not focusing on them inside the parliament, and therefore they have to take recourse to doing hangama and protests within the parliament premises, but outside Mahatma Gandhi's statue. And Rahul Gandhi, in fact, if you listen to his entire speech at Cambridge, he makes the point that, I had to conduct the Bharat Jodo Yatra because I was left with no other means of communicating with the people, to knowing what they want, to know their problems and trying to solve them. So I think the larger issue that the Congress is making is, and will always continue to make, is that there is a kind of fascism in our country where the government controls everything, not just the media, communications, but every institution of the country as well.
But here's the criticism, Pallavi. Some of these issues were actually raised in Lok Sabha also, and then Union Minister Amit Shah Union Home Minister had turned around and spoken to the Congress leaders saying, if you feel all these allegations are true, why don't you approach the court and get a judicial verdict? So that Supreme Court's monitoring, Supreme Court's verdict is something that the BJP has always underlined, accusing Congress of playing politics and not trusting the country's judiciary.
So here's the problem really for the Congress party. I mean, they have raised these issues back home over here in India. Rahul Gandhi himself uses every platform, whether they are press conferences or during the Bharat Jodo Yatra, interactions, that, there's no democracy left in our country. The CBI, ED are all misused. But then the question arises is that should you be saying the same thing when you're on a foreign soil? You're there in UK, you talk about nationalism, you're talking about China, you're talking about Pakistan, you're talking about America. But these comments which you make back home over here in India is all very well, but you cannot make these kind of comments, or rather should you be making these kind of comments when you're abroad? And frankly speaking, Rahul Gandhi's track record has been pretty much this. Right from 2008, 2009 onwards, when he's traveled for these kind of seminars and speeches, whether it was in Germany or in UK or in America, he's actually gone to the extent of comparing the RSS plus the BJP to Muslim Brotherhood. That again evoked a very, very strong reaction from the BJP. Similar his comments that there is a misuse of powers of the people. People do not have any power left because it's a fascist government over here.
Right. Pallavi, hold on. We finally have that soundbite from Mallikarjun Kharge defending Rahul Gandhi's comments. Let's listen in.
लोगों को सच्चाई मालूम नहीं होगा और डेमोक्रेसी अगर खत्म हो गई, बोलने की आज़ादी भी नहीं, अपने विचार रखने का आज़ादी भी नहीं है, संविधान के तहत आप चलते भी नहीं, संविधान को ठीक ढंग से उसको जो मर्यादा देना चाहिए वो नहीं दे रहे आप, और हर चीज़ बाहर बोलते हो कि हमने लोकतंत्र को बचाया, लोकतंत्र के तहत हम काम कर रहे हैं, ये सब वो जो एक भ्रम फैला रहे हैं। बहुत से लोगों के टेलीफोन भी टैप होते हैं, लेकिन मेरे पास ये प्रूफ नहीं है कि किसका हो रहा, कहाँ हो रहा, कब हो रहा, लेकिन सभी लोग जानते हैं कि टेलीफोन टैपिंग कैसा होता है।
Pallavi is still here with me. So Pallavi, here's the criticism that whatever you had to say, there are mechanisms within the country. There are, of course, the judicial mechanism, which we have already discussed. We've spoken about the parliament as well. So the criticism is that when you go abroad and make these kinds of far-reaching comments against the Indian system. You are bringing to disrepute the Indian democratic institutions.
Yes, and these days communication is very rapid. It just spreads, and there are going to be countries like China, and I would say more damaging really for India is Pakistan, because we always accuse Pakistan of complete denial of democratic rights, how the people over there are suffering. But when you have your own leader, he's going abroad and he's making these kind of comments. Obviously, the Pakistan leadership is going to start pointing a finger at us and say, look, your own leader is saying so, your own politician is saying so. The Congress's counter usually has been, Arunima, that the BJP also does it. I mean, when the Prime Minister goes there, he says no work has been done before 2014. You take pot shots. But I don't think that the extent of the BJP has been ever to call us fascists. And that's where the BJP has a problem with, and the government has a problem with, the circumstances, the perception, the timing. You here have a G20 summit going on at the national capital, and there you have someone like, for example, the Italian Prime Minister praising the Prime Minister, and you have your own high-profile politician going to Cambridge and bashing your Prime Minister and your country.
Right. Pallavi, thank you so much. Like Pallavi is pointing out, the Congress party's comments about snooping, about opposition not being given its space, about media being controlled.